Where's my mic? There it is. Hello, everyone. We're reading this. It is that. Oh my god. I'm really tired. Hello, everyone. We're reading this Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish, Volume 3. Probably chapters 6. No, that's not 6. 96 to. I don't know. Math. Probably about 3. 3 chapters. I woke up 2 hours ago, but I didn't really, but I kind of, no, you know what? I woke up an hour and a half ago, and my brain is still fuzzy, but I did take my meds. Hopefully those kick in soon. Anyway, I have tea. I hope you have tea. I hope you're having a good day. I hope your day is kind to you today. Even if it's just starting. I hope it's alright here. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious. I already almost burnt my tongue already, so. We're off to a good start. I recently cut my hair. Again. So fun fact, I actually had long hair for a while. But I cut my hair short again, and now my neck is cold all the time. So I'm wearing like this. I'm wearing my kufia, but I'm wearing it like a headscarf, and it's really cozy, really comfy. You can't see, but it's really comfy. Oh my god. Also, the inside of my thigh is like really, it feels so weird. Like it feels raw in that weird muscle way. I don't know what position my leg was when I was asleep, but it's gotta have been in some funky position, so that's that, I guess. La 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 la. Oh my god, I wish I was sleepy. I need to wake up. I kind of like half slept in a little bit today. So you know when you wake up after you sleep in? Your local penguin! Thank you for the follow! Oh my god. No, don't come for the fish. They're gonna eat the fish. Oh no. No, my fish! Okay. Hello, welcome. Hope you have a good time. Whew. No, don't eat all the fish! No, my fishies. Oh boy. That's so scary. Alright. I don't know if my reading brain is gonna be turning on anytime soon, to be honest. I'm so fuzzy brain. They're delicious! You know what, you're right, they are delicious. I could really ghost for some fish right now. Does salmon make you sleepy? I don't think it's supposed to. I think salmon has a lot of magnesium in it, and I am very magnesium deficient. So whenever I eat salmon, I get quite sleepy, but in a good way, in like a cozy, warm way, not in like a exhausted way. It's a magnesium sleepy. I never know. Fair. All right. We are on chapter 96, page 197. I can do math. Quick maths. Right. Last we left off. What do we do? I'm supposed to be asleep because it's 2 a.m. for you. Oh boy. Oh boy. We love insomnia. Don't worry. Don't worry, you do whatever the fuck you want. I'm not gonna hold you to that. Where do we leave off on? One fishy no, Merman Man Mer. Where Liu wants to turn into a human. Yes. Oh my god, Leo exited the system. Once he found a good opportunity to turn human, he asked in a quiet voice, Your Highness, I have a tribulation I need to get through. Can you help me? That's what we left off on. This guy being a slut. Not even knowing that he's doing it. Oh my god. My tea is very bland. I think it's old. I think this is old or something. I don't know. It's also a lot of water with just one tea packet. Anyway, chapter 96. Let me turn my reading brain on. Beep bop, beep bop. I'll be asleep, but I'll leave your stream on the background. So happy times. I hope you have a good sleep. Really good rest. Alright. Fishy tribulation. Sorry, my throat is not prepared. My face isn't prepared. Alright. We should be good. Okay. Ooh, let's go. Because Liu kept the system a secret and pretended he was a carp spirit, when he explained what was going on to Prince Jing, he framed it as a tribulation. Essentially, he had to pick a time to go through this tribulation, lasting around 3 days. He'd be in a half-human, half-fish state, and needed Prince Jing's protection and care. Prince Jing listened quietly, holding his hand tightly as Liu recounted the task quickly. Occasionally, Prince Jing's brow would furrow in thought, but he never let go of his hand. I don't have to go through it immediately, he said, not wanting to put too much pressure on Prince Jing. We can take it slow and choose somewhere no one will disturb me. But when the time comes, I'll really look weird, and I won't be able to move. Please prepare lots of fresh water and food for me, and don't let anyone see me. That's all. Although the task was protect the pet fish, he'd be turning into something that wasn't quite human or fish. He definitely would be staying inside so he wouldn't put himself in danger. That way, the quest would be a little easier too. Prince Jing, however, gave it a lot more consideration than him. Picking up a brush and paper, he wrote, Wait for me for a few days. I'll ensure your safety. Liu read the words over and over again, his chest feeling warm. Your Highness, don't you want to ask what I will turn into? Prince Jing held his hand and smiled. He wrote, No matter what you look like, you are you. So fucking gay. Alright, then please don't laugh at me when the time comes, Your Highness, Liu said, trying to sound casual. When people were in love, they often hoped to look their best in front of the person they loved. Liu secretly felt like that as well. He'd only just gotten married, and although he wasn't beautiful enough to cause the downfall of a country, he was at least a pretty little cutie. I'm sorry. He was at least a pretty little cutie. Literally says that he was at least a pretty little cutie. Oh my god. Oh god. Subconsciously, he didn't want Prince Jing to see him as a weird fish-human monstrosity. Being a merman was fine, but if he was a fish on top of a fish on top and human on the bottom, he'd be basically a monster. It was already difficult enough to turn into a fish in front of Prince Jing, and now the system wanted him to be something in between. Time after time, the fish system only got more scammy instead of less. If he wanted to complete his mission and become human for good, he had no other choice, no matter how reluctant he felt. Prince Jing had to be the one to complete this mission. He couldn't just get around it with a lie. Even if Prince Jing had always treated him well, Liu was still uneasy. But just a few words from Prince Jing were enough to chase away all his worries. For a moment, he couldn't control his own emotions. He had to turn around. Don't misunderstand. He only cried when he was sad. Right now, he was just so moved that his throat felt a little uncomfortable. Thinking of all the ways Prince Jing took care of him, Liu thought he should trust him. Perhaps the merman and Manmer would be very scary. Perhaps Prince Jing would be shocked, but he would never let him down. Prince Jing misinterpreted Liu's emotional turmoil, thinking he was worried about worried that his tribulation wouldn't go well. He wrote more. "Don't worry, I won't make you wait long." Liu's lips curved up, and he nodded forcefully. Ever since he got together with Prince Jing and they got married, he'd always felt very safe. Now that they talked about it, Prince Jing knew Liu had to go through a tribulation, so he made a lot of preparations. The Emperor often mentioned the babies in his letters these days. Although it was just a sentence here or there, Prince Jing suspected his family of 6 wouldn't be stuck at the western border for much longer. But the babies were still young. Even if the Emperor wanted to see them, Prince Jing didn't want to suffer through traveling. Didn't want them to suffer through traveling. He would at least try to delay until they stopped breastfeeding. Although Liu said he wasn't in a rush to go through his tribulation and that they could take their time, he thought it would be best if they did it sooner rather than later. It would be better to do it while they were still in the western border, because here he was in charge. He could make up excuses for Liu getting pregnant and giving birth. If they returned to the capital, there would be many restrictions, and he was worried Xiao Yu's identity would be revealed. My nose is really clogged today. Okay. Let's see. As he saw it, these few days right after the wedding were the best time. He'd taken care of most of his work in advance, and no one would disturb him while he was on his break. But if he and Xiao Yu went to deal with this tribulation, they would have to leave the kids to Wang Ji. Luckily, Ye Qinghuan hadn't left yet, so they could at least conscript him to help. At Luofeng village, apart from the residents the village had prepared for Prince Jing, Wang Ji had also secretly purchased a few different properties, just in case. Prince Jing picked one that was not far from his regular residence. It was connected via a secret tunnel, making it perfect for this situation. If anything were to happen, he could return quickly. With the location chosen, Prince Jing told Liu his plans. Liu was shocked at how fastidious, I know that word, fastidious Prince Jing was. He was rather embarrassed. He'd only thought of preparing food and water, but Prince Jing had thought about where to stay and what to do with the kids. He really didn't have anything to add. Liu didn't need to worry about anything. Prince Jing secretly ordered the house to be cleaned out and prepared as soon as possible, then ordered Auntie Zhu to prepare lots of Liu's favorite foods. Sorry. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's just morning, stuffiness, you know? And then it's getting cleared out slowly. Where was I? Prince Jing secretly ordered the note. I already read that. Altogether, the human and fish food took up an entire cart. Never mind 3 days, they were prepared for 30. Prince Jing was the person who commanded the most authority and respect in the western border. He didn't need to let anyone know where he was taking his consort, but he still had to give everyone other than Wang Ji and Ye Qinghuan an explanation. His first thought was to pretend to go hunting, but he rarely hunted even when he was in the capital, so this excuse was a little bit flimsy. Liu wanted to help. He suddenly had an idea. The honeymoon excuse. Your Highness, where I'm from, after they get married, people usually have a honeymoon, which is when the newlyweds go on a trip and have fun and relax. Liu thought he'd lost a great opportunity. Why did he have to be so honest and tell Prince Jing the quest would take 3 days? He should have said it would take longer so they could have more time together in their own little world. Prince Jing fully believed him about the honeymoon, though, and relayed the information to Ye Qinghuan and Wang Ji. When Wang Gonggong found out His Highness and the consort were going somewhere alone, he couldn't be happier. There were already 4 young masters. Perhaps this time they could return with a few new young ladies? Insane. Wang Gongong agreed happily and immediately used what he just learned to wish His Highness and the consort a happy honeymoon. Ye Qinghuan was not so happy. Ye Shizi, who had been recruited to work, said in a fierce expression, "Why do I have to take care of your children for you while you go on your honeymoon?" Prince Jing glanced at Wang Ji, and Wang Ji laughed. "Shizi, His Highness says letting you take care of them is a way of showing you respect." "Bullshit," Ye Qinghuan said. "I came to drink your marriage wine. I'm a guest. How can you make a guest work for you? Either way, you have to let me come along during the honeymoon." I love him so much. Ye Qinghuan, nope. Prince Jing glared at him judgmentally. Xiao Yu had said honeymoons were for couples. Those who wanted to interrupt a couple's honeymoon were what Xiao Yu had called wheels. It didn't matter whether or not Ye Qinghuan agreed. When the time came, Prince Jing left with Liu, and the 4 kids were handed to Ye Qinghuan. The fish babies couldn't speak or move right now, but they could listen. Through various conversations, they'd figured out their dads were leaving and were handing them over to Wang Gongong and Ye Shushu. Ye Shushu. Cute. The fish babies were very familiar with Wang Gongong. When Wang Gongong was looking after them, all of them were very well behaved. But this was the first time they were meeting Ye Shushu. The babies were never very polite when it came to strangers. We're gonna have like an Alvin and this chipmunk situation on our hands, aren't we? Some type of scheming. Some type of baby scheming. Ye Qinghuan was about to become a dad himself. Just because Prince Jing was rude didn't mean Ye Shizi couldn't take good care of the kids. But he'd only just met these 3 chubby babies who all looked a lot like a younger Prince Jing, so it took a long time before he finally managed to differentiate Dabao, Erbao, and Sanbao. Out of the 3, Erbao and Sanbao started crying as soon as they saw him, giving him a headache. Dabao's expression remained serious. Ye Qinghuan had been beaten up by little chubs when he was young. For a moment, he thought he was looking at the real deal and felt a little fear in his heart. He touched his nose, feeling like he was thinking too much. But then his eyes met with the judgmental gaze of this child. "What's going on? I want to beat him up!" But Ye Shizi was an adult. He couldn't harm a defenseless baby who didn't know anything, so nothing ended up happening. Ye Qinghuan picked up Erbao and Sanbao, then stuffed Dabao into his arms, his movements clumsy. He took the opportunity to practice. Soon his own children would be born after all. Ye Qinghuan touched the 3 children's heads and couldn't help but smile. Oh, there was also Sebao. He looked a lot like Liu and didn't seem as mischievous as the other 3. He was always smiling brightly. Ee-hee! "Sebao, call me Shushu." Ye Qinghuan got excited, pinching Sebao on one tender cheek. What a classic example of bullying the weak. Sebao remained smiling, then suddenly bit Ye Shizi's hand. Although he had no teeth, his gums left 2 red marks behind. Ye Shizi howled like a banshee. "Don't bully him! He's literally just a baby. He's literally a baby." Oh my god, this guy. My throat's a little gravelly. Liu and Prince Jing soon arrived at the secret residence. Prince Jing wasted no time sending everyone off, leaving only the 2 of them. They had brought plenty of food. Oh, jeez. They had brought plenty of food, and Prince Jing had ordered someone to dig a pond in the garden. Just like that? It was filled with clear water, and they had brought the fish tank along as well. "Your Highness," Liu announced, "I am going to start." Prince Jing grabbed him and pulled out a silk pouch, handing it to Liu. "What's this?" Liu asked. Prince Jing was always finding new gifts to give him. Prince Jing gestured for him to open it, so Liu did. Inside lay an old protective charm and a note. The note described where the protection charm came from. This was the protective charm Empress Xiaohui had gotten for Prince Jing before he was born. Oh! This was technically something she passed down with him, so Prince Jing had kept it safe ever since and had never worn it. Yikes! It's rough today. The night before he came to the western border, he'd made sure to ask someone to bring the charm to Lao Ran for him to bless. It had all been for this moment. Tribulations for Yao were usually very dangerous. Prince Jing firmly believed this protective charm would keep Liu safe. "Your Highness, thank you." Liu sniffled and hung the charm around his neck. His emotions were complicated. He knew very well that he wasn't going through any tribulation, and this charm was just a piece of paper. Even if anything did happen, the charm would be completely useless. But now all of Prince Jing's trust and sincerity would be concentrated in this charm, all because of a white lie he had told. He knew he had no other choice, but he still felt regretful at this moment. It was time to start. Prince Jing nodded at him slightly. Liu made his last request. "Your Highness, can you turn around?" He didn't know what he was going to look like. He had to give both Prince Jing and himself a bit of a buffer. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Prince Jing was always very understanding when it came to him, and he immediately turned around as asked. Liu gritted his teeth and quickly entered the system. When the system asked him if he'd like to start the quest, he chose yes without hesitating. Something abruptly occurred to him. Ah, my tissue! Sorry. Something abruptly occurred to him. The system said he would appear as a merman and manmer, one after another. Which one would be first? ... When Liu came to again, he felt surrounded by coldness. His face felt a little itchy, and when he looked down, his feet and legs were all accounted for. Liu thought he hadn't changed yet, but when he opened his mouth and found he couldn't speak. What? But when he opened his mouth, he found he couldn't speak. When he took another look, he realized his hands had turned into fins. That was when he realized the quest had already started. It was different from his fish form. His fish form was a whole fish and much smaller than a human, but right now, his legs and feet were still human, meaning he hadn't changed in size, but his hands... he was a manmer! The bottom half was human, and the top half was... Liu immediately tried to cover his face, but his fins were too short. Soon, he could no longer breathe. Even though he was half human and half fish, the fish half still needed water. Liu didn't even dare look at himself, let alone tell Prince Jing to turn around. He quickly used his foot to hook over a piece of cloth he'd prepared beforehand and tried to cover up his top half. With the cloth draped over his fish head, Liu ran into the garden and threw himself into the water. Even if he had faith in Prince Jing, he still didn't want... Sob, sob, sob. He didn't dare look at himself, so he wanted Prince Jing to see him even less. Prince Jing heard a splash and Liu was already in the water. What happened? Prince Jing stood by the pond for a while, not sure what had happened to Liu. The pond here wasn't as deep as the one in Prince Jing's manor. On the shore, Prince Jing could vaguely make out Liu's form. He realized Xiao Yu didn't seem to have fully transformed. Considering Liu had suffered a cold the last time he hid at the bottom of the pool and refused to come out, Prince Jing was worried he would catch one this time as well. Soon he decided to get in the water too. By the way, on the previous page there is an illustration of half man, half fish Liu. With him, like his upper fish half staring at his fins, and then his little legs in not full view. It's like cut up comic style, but it's, oh my god. Shing! He's so distressed. Oh my god. Just as he was about to take off his outer robe, the water rippled, and the person in the water came to the surface. Xiao Yu? Prince Jing was very worried. Liu was standing in the water silently, his upper half completely wrapped in the cloth. There were 2 holes in the cloth. Liu looked at Prince Jing out of them. Sob, 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 your highness, don't come closer. Neither of them could speak. Liu watched Prince Jing nervously. As soon as the prince took a step forward, he would take one back. After a few repeats of this, Prince Jing could tell he was avoiding him. Prince Jing thought for a moment, then reached to pull Liu out of the water. Liu was about to reach back for him out of habit, but his fin had only peeked out a little when he remembered he couldn't reach, and immediately shrank back. Prince Jing had good eyesight and had already spotted the hidden fin. He was stunned at first, but after a moment he figured out why Xiao Yu had to cover his face and upper body. It was a little surprising. Prince Jing coughed slightly. How was he going to comfort Xiao Yu if he wouldn't let him get close? Looking around, Prince Jing spotted a bamboo stick. Liu noticed it as well. He and Prince Jing had to communicate somehow. Perhaps they could use this bamboo stick to pass along messages. Liu waited for him eagerly, but then, as he watched, Prince Jing cut off half of his sleeve, tied it to the bamboo stick, and slowly brought the stick closer to him. The sleeve on the bamboo stick lightly caressed the top of his head. This movement, Liu froze. It was like Prince Jing was gently touching his head the same way he'd done countless times before. You sappy motherfuckers. You gay. Bad word for gay. Oh my god. And that's the end of the chapter. I don't know if I should remit this, but I have my other fishy on in the background. I have my Love and Deep Space boy, my fishy boy on in the background, and he thinks we're studying, but I'm actually just reading him a book while he paints. Oh, I love it. I'm just reading him a story about fishies while he paints. He would love this book. He would love this book so much. Well, he would pretend not to love it, and then he'd actually sneakily read it. And he'd be like, "Oh, you know, it's better if you read out loud. Are you reading that book again? Oh, you should read it out loud. Not because I want to hear it, but because I like hearing your voice or something. Some shit like that. Stupid bitch." But then he'd actually be really invested. And then I'd read without him and be like, "You read it without me? Oh, okay. Did anything important happen?" Okay, sorry, I'm done. I'm done talking about Raphael. Not that I care or anything, I just, you know, I know you like talking about your interests, so. Oh my god. Okay, let me stretch for a little bit before we start the next chapter. Did I mention that was the end of the chapter? Oh, yeah. Rubbing my face a little. Get the sleepies out. Ugh. Alright. Sorry, I'm burpy. Chapter 97 is called Merman Play. Okay. You bastard! Do you think you're fishing? Liu giggled at the method Prince Jing had chosen to pat him. He paused, then used his fin to grab at the corner of the sleeve on the bamboo pole. Prince Jing tried to pull the bamboo pole back, and Liu moved with it to stop in front of him. Prince Jing wasn't fishing, but Liu was hooked. Prince Jing let go of the bamboo pole and reached his hand out. This time, Liu gave up his shiny, fat, short fins, and Prince Jing held them without any hesitation. Prince Jing patted his fins. Don't be afraid. This was something Prince Jing did often, so there was no way Liu could misunderstand him. Dummy, Liu thought to himself. Isn't it obvious? I'm afraid that you'll be afraid. He stopped hiding and leapt into Prince Jing's arms, the cloth still over his head. In Manmer form, it was easy for his upper body to get dehydrated, but his legs and feet were still very agile. Prince Jing was afraid that he wouldn't be able to breathe, so he stayed with Liu in the water. Liu swam around occasionally, as Manmer usually relied on their fins and feet to tread water, but since the water wasn't deep, Liu was lazy and just walked in the water with his feet. He was really taking neither fish nor fowl to the extreme. Liu walked around in the water playfully and even childishly splashed water onto Prince Jing before stomping on Prince Jing's feet and then trying to make his escape. But Prince Jing expressionlessly grabbed his ankles and dragged him back. This position made Liu recognize the danger he was in. Though his upper body was that of a fish, his lower body was still a human's. He still had all the right parts. Oh no, would he entice Prince Jing into an animalistic fervor towards his pitiful, weak, and helpless self if he struggled? Stupid. That's so weird. Y'all, would you fuck a Manmer? Would y'all fuck a Manmer? Be honest. Be honest. That's crazy. No thanks. A Manmer was way too much of a turn-off, and Liu was afraid he might throw up even thinking about it. He didn't dare to move or think carelessly, so he just leaned against Prince Jing with the cloth still covering his head. Hugging was okay, but his cloth couldn't come off. Liu's mind was racing with thoughts, but Prince Jing seemed determined to stay with him through his trial, as if he knew that Liu didn't want his fish face to be seen. As long as Liu didn't try taking off the cloth, Prince Jing didn't try to force anything and treated him normally. Liu thus barely managed to maintain his image. The first day passed uneventfully, and Liu fell asleep in Prince Jing's arms. When he woke up, he realized he was still covered with the cloth, and that it was the next day. The first thing he did was look down at his hands. The mission was supposed to last for 3 days, and he would switch forms during that time. The appearance of his hands was all important. He was more experienced now, and he knew that if his hands was Finn, he must be still in Manmore form. He hoped he was a merman this time, but even if he was a Manmore again, Prince Jing would protect him, so he didn't need to worry about anything. It was easy to be disappointed if one's hopes were too high. Liu didn't want to be disappointed, so he only allowed himself a tiny bit of hope and took a quick glance. Now that it was next day, he saw that his short fins were gone. Before him were a pair of hands with proper fingers. Liu suppressed his excitement and tried to clench his hands. After he made sure he wasn't dreaming, he used those hands to rub his face aggressively. His face hurt, and there were no scales. Liu happily tossed the cloth to the side and took in lungfuls of air. Since his face and hands were both human, he was definitely a merman this time. Liu looked down at his legs. As expected, he saw a silver fish tail with gold sprinkled throughout. When he was a fish, he saw his tail all the time and never thought much about it. Now that his fish tail was bigger, though, it seemed a lot more impressive. It was almost as long as his legs, and the silver scales started about 3 inches below his navel. Sheesh! Sorry. The fishtail replaced the legs of his human body, making for a very fetching appearance. The merman form he was now the merman form he was in now was more like the merman he imagined at first. And thankfully, not a dugong. I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming it was what we had before. He transformed from the food carp into a koi carp, and then into a merman. This really was quite... ... He wanted to cry. He wanted to cry when he was a manmer, but now as a merman, he wanted to laugh loudly. Humans were truly irrational creatures. Liu admired his merman reflection in the water and started getting used to his new form. First, he rubbed his own tail. That's right. He'd never petted himself before. A merman could do something a fish couldn't do. So this was how weird petting a fish felt. He's calling Prince Jig a freak. He is a freak, but you know. There's an illustration on this page too of his merman form. He's so cute. He's so freaking cute. Oh, and he has a little charm around his neck. Ugh. So precious. Unlike you, who's wearing his stupid glasses. Ugh. Why do I let them dress themselves? I'm talking about Raphael again. Sorry. He's just there. I have to. Alright. Yes. When he was done stroking it, hey yo! Sorry. When he was done stroking it, he tried flapping his tail. His silver tail drew a pretty arc in the water, and even Liu himself was amazed. He wanted to try something out with his merman tail, so he wriggled up onto shore. He could use his tail as a No, don't do this again. I thought we were over this. I thought this was done and over with. I guess one last time, huh? One last time. Oh my god. For all time's sake. He could use... Where is it? He could use his tail as a skateboard when he was a fish, but he wasn't sure yet if a merman could do that. Since his upper half was human, breathing out of the water wasn't a problem. Liu did his best to stand on his tail, but perhaps because his size had changed too much, it was hard to balance. His tail couldn't support his body to walk on the ground. Next, Liu tried to jump. His tail strength was still the same, so he was able to get off the ground, but he was a bit unstable when he landed. Liu took some time to recover, then he jumped again. Even though he couldn't walk, he could move a bit by jumping around. The only inconvenience was that when he was on land for too long, his tail would become dry and sore, similar to chapped skin. However, it was much better than being unable to breathe in his manmer form, and he only had to put his tail in the water to alleviate most of the pain. Overall, the merman form was prettier, and it was a much better deal than the manmer form. Liu happily jumped back and forth from land to water, loud enough that he woke up Prince Jing. Liu saw his feather-like eyelashes tremble slightly and knew that he was close to waking up, so he leaped into the water and hid his tail. As soon as he awoke, Prince Jing saw Liu with his human upper body resting on his arms and looking at him. Shall you? Prince Jing smiled and patted Liu's head. Liu smiled mischievously and cocked his head at Prince Jing. and Prince Jing saw the silver and gold tail rush to the surface and rise slowly from the water behind Liu. Surprise flashed across Prince Jing's face for a moment when he realized who the tail belonged to. Xiao Yu had fins as a human. What? Xiao Yu had fins and a human lower body before, but now it was flipped. In front of him was a young man, beautiful as always, but his lower body was now a dazzling, splendid tail. Prince Jing had never seen such a scene in his life, so innocent, yet seductive, so mysterious and beautiful. He might not fuck you in your man-mer form, but maybe the merman form. I don't know. Who said that? Who said that? This was the most beautiful Yao he'd ever seen. Liu had been waiting this entire time for Prince Jing to find out how beautiful mermen were. He thought so himself, and not only did he not want to hide it, he even looked forward to Prince Jing seeing him. He purposely swam slowly around Prince Jing. His tail was soft, and he would occasionally brush past Prince Jing's hands and feet. Once he was sure that Prince Jing had no plans to run away, Li Devious Yu decided to go all out and wrapped his entire tail around Prince Jing. Oh my god, he's flirting. He's going hard. Okay. He used to wrap his tail tightly around Prince Jing's fingers, but now he wanted to wrap his tail tightly around his body. Liu had wanted to do this ever since he found Prince Jing didn't look upon his manmer form with disdain, and was still willing to protect him. Opening his arms, Liu threw them around his husband's neck. "Your Highness, do you like it?" Liu asked softly, leaning in to kiss Prince Jing. Liu's scent was everywhere, in Prince Jing's arms and on his upper lip. He couldn't stand the teasing and could barely control himself. But he remembered that Xiao Yu was in the middle of a tribulation, so he couldn't respond hastily. Instead, with great restraint, he hugged the merman tightly, his ears turning slightly red. Oh ho ho! Oh ho ho! He had petted the tail that was encircling him countless times before. To distract himself, Prince Jing tried to pet the tail again. Uh-oh. The tip of the tail shuddered violently, and, to his own surprise, Liu let out an ah. The tail was actually very sensitive. When he was a fish, petting it just felt comfortable, but when he was a merman, the feeling was amplified several times over. Liu could hear the indecency in his own voice. It wasn't a noise of surprise. It was practically a moan. Prince Jing's whole body stiffened. Because of that light moan, he didn't dare move. His ears turned even redder. Liu was still in his arms and could clearly feel the ways he was reacting. His tail began to move, rubbing with persistence. He kissed Prince Jing wetly on his earlobe and whispered in his ear, "Your Highness, do you want it?" Li, you are bold! This guy is getting bold! Hold him back! Oh my god. This was probably the only time he'd get to be a merman. It would be a waste if they just stared at each other. Sure, he was probably the first fish to want it while completing a mission. But since the system didn't do anything to stop him, it was probably fine. Prince Jing's throat bobbed, staring into the dark, wet eyes of the person in his arms. Who could resist such a sight? But he was still undergoing a tribulation. Liu was afraid that Prince Jing wouldn't be able to come to terms with it, and they'd waste this excellent opportunity, so he wheedled, "Your Highness, it's all right. This is also part of my tribulation." What a manipulator! Gaslight, girl boss, gatekeep. Oh my god. Prince Jing paused. This was part of it? Yes, Liu smiled naughtily. It's a love tribulation, so the carp spirit has to absorb essence. What is with this guy? This guy is horned up. Oh, I can't blame him though. I really can't blame him. I can't blame him. I'd do the same thing. I never would. Of course he would. Prince Jing came back to his senses and held the restless fish. He picked an open spot next to the pond, took off his robes, and laid them onto the ground. Liu lay down with his tail just close enough to trail into the water so he'd be comfortable no matter how he moved. Your Highness, let me tell you. Liu lay next to Prince Jing's ear, smiling and talking. The fish's structure was different from a human's, but Liu hadn't looked into it much beyond the obvious. Fortunately, Prince Jing was on board to help research the matter, and a whole new world awaited them. Liu's tail was so excited that it started slapping the water loudly. Then they finally found the right location and did everything they wanted. And that's done. Oh my god. Don't fish have, cloacas as well? I actually don't know that much about fish anatomy like that. But do they have just one hole? This is important. This is for scientific research. Do fish have cloaca? Some fish. No, wait, yes. Wait, true cloaca in fish is only present in elasmobranches, like sharks and rays, along with lobe-fin fish. Oh, interesting. In some fish, like ray-fin fishes, the cloacal part remains in the adult to receive the urinary and reproductive ducts, whereas the opening of the anus is separate to them. Oh! Wait, that's like a hyena. That's kind of like a hyena. No? Like a pseudo penis? I'm sorry. You don't need to know about hyena penis. Well, they're not really, but okay, wait. Do fish have multiple holes? I need to know the answer to this. Fish are vertebrates mean they have a background. All fish have fins and most have scales. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, so you know what? Let's look this up later. We're still not done with this chapter. We're still not done with this chapter, and the ad is coming up soon, so. Oh my god. After the fun, Liu fell asleep. Prince Jing put on a random undershirt, carried him back inside, and wiped off all the gravel on his tail. Liu hummed quietly as he was wrapped in a quilt, his eyebrows slightly knit together. Prince Jing examined his scales closely and found that they were a little dry. He remembered that Liu's tail was very lively earlier when it was in the water, so perhaps his scales were somewhat dehydrated now. Thus, Prince Jing used a wet cloth to continuously wipe his tail. Oh my god. Liu's brows relaxed and he finally slept soundly. But before the day was over, as night approached, the sudden noise of drums and a crowd could be heard outside. Liu jolted awake on Prince Jing's lap. He was afraid something huge had happened, and he wanted Prince Jing to check it out. But Prince Jing didn't want to. He had already prepared everything beforehand and had no intention of leaving Xiaoyu's side. Before long, a servant reported that bandits had taken advantage of the commotion surrounding Prince Jing's wedding to attack Luofeng village. The leader of the bandits, who'd suffered several defeats, assumed that Prince Jing would let down his guard during his wedding, Most of the officials and soldiers in Lofeng village were on vacation too. What a heaven-sent chance. A heaven-sent chance indeed. Prince Jing smiled coldly. Li Yu, who was about to push him to accept the battle, had the sense of the weather is getting colder, so the bandits should die. And that's the end of the chapter. And that's where they chose to leave off on that chapter. Okay. He had everything. He's prepared. Of course he's prepared. Oh my god. He's so sexy. He's so fucking hot. I love a man who's prepared. In lots of ways, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm going to go take a short break and feed the dogs, run an ad, get more tea, all that jazz. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go do that. You sit tight. You know what's funny? Whenever I upload my VODs. Oh, hello. Oh, I'm frozen. Okay, great. Love that. My V bridger is broken. Hang on. Let me restart these things. Are we still good though? We're still fine. I just don't have any bottom teeth. Oh, that was actually my bad. My phone is. I didn't even need to do all this. Hang on, give me a second. Give me a moment. We're about. Oh, don't look at this. Don't look. Okay. You go away. I paid for you. I'm not supposed to have that watermark thing because I paid for this program. Anyway, I will be right back. Have fun with an ad. Yeah, burb. Okay, I'm back. Hello, I see it. Oops, no, not a screenshot. I don't know how this fucking phone works. I've got to text to dogs 8. Okay, cool. Okay. I am back. I have more tea. My throat's being a little rough right now, though. I'm a little dehydrated. Ew. The next chapter is called Tricked Fishy. Chapter 98. Page 219. 219. Why is my dog barking? Shut up. She's barking on the balcony. Okay, I'm still EP, but I want to read. I like to read. Okay. So what do you like to read? Did you know that if you put an industrial-sized toaster? Anyway. I'm currently waiting for my tea to cool down so we can get started. Because I can't start without a sip of my tea. It's the rules. Them's the rules. I don't make them. That's just how it is. So yeah, how's your day going? Hope your day's going good. I hope my day goes good as well. So far it's fine. Except my friend won't give me back my manga. They're like, give me this one that you have. And I'm like, okay, then give me back mine. What? And then they're like, no. I think they should tell us what they want. They, oh my god, they're being so dumb. Give me my books back. What the fuck? They borrow my. They don't even borrow. The thing is, they don't borrow. They don't. When they take my books, they're not borrowing them. They're stealing them. They're stealing my books. And I'm like, okay, can I read this one that you have? And they're like, no. Huh? I'm not a stealer. I'm not a thief like you. I just want to borrow them to read them and then give them back. I'm not a fucking thief. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm getting pissed off about this. Clearly, someone sent this to them. They need to know how I feel. I told them I'm not gonna talk to them until they give me my books back. And that's what I told them. But then they stopped talking to me, so I don't know if it works or not. I think that might have been what they wanted, so I don't know. Okay. Don't fall asleep. Unless you want to. Unless you're like trying to. It's not that good. It's quite bland. Alright. We had some tea. We had a sip. And now we can read Tricked Fishy. Tricked Fishy. Prince Jing handed Liu a secret report. Liu glanced over it and found that the ambush on the village was part of Prince Jing's wedding leave plan. The bandits wanted to attack during Prince Jing's wedding, when his guard was down, but Prince Jing had already anticipated this. Lofeng Village's advantage lay in its secret passages. Prince Jing had been there for nearly a year and had been training the local guards to be proficient at using those passages during battle. Prince Jing had given everyone in the village a vacation because of his wedding, making it seem as if everyone's guard was down. In reality, the security in Lofeng Village was relaxed on the outside but alert on the inside. Word had spread that the citizens were gone to visit friends and family, so if the bandits were really thinking about making a move right now, they'd make themselves an easy target. Prince Jing knew that he wouldn't be able to stay on the western border for long, so he wanted to get rid of the bandits as soon as possible so that danger could be finally eliminated. Liu was mostly relieved when he saw all the details on the secret report. As long as Prince Jing was prepared, then a I don't know this word. Dilettant. Is it French? Dilettant? No, it's not French. Is it? I have no idea. Diletttante. What is that? Okay, whatever. Then a thing like himself. What? It's not like himself, had nothing to worry about. Come to think of it, Prince Jing had made so many preparations to aid him in his tribulation that there was no way he would have been so negligent as to ignore something as important as defense. Prince Jing comforted him and handed him a note telling him to be patient and wait for the results within 4 hours. Liu nodded. It was almost the last day of his mission too, so he hoped that the bandits could be caught as soon as possible and nothing unexpected would happen. Outside, the fight was about to start, so he couldn't fall asleep even if he wanted to. Prince Jing hugged him, and Liu leaned against Prince Jing's shoulder. The two of them listened to what was happening outside. After some time had passed, the sound of children crying could be heard, as if several children were crying at once. Liu's hands shook, and his heart skipped a beat. He thought the crying sounded like Dabao. He and Prince Jing were in a secret residence to complete the mission, but the children had been left in the manor and weren't with them. Earlier, he'd only been thinking about the village's defenses, not his own children. But if a fight were to really break out, would they be in danger? Wang Gonggong and Ye Qinghuan were keeping guard at the residence, but would they be as wary of bandits as Prince Jing was? What if bandits broke through the defense and rushed into the manor during the battle? Liu didn't dare keep going down this line of thought. Prince Jing only needed to glance to know that Liu was seriously worried. He held his hand tightly and gave him a determined look. We're baiting the enemy. Don't fall for it. Wang Ji had been with Prince Jing for many years, and Ye Qinghuan was Prince Jing's cousin. They were both trustworthy. In the very unlikely event that the bandits actually broke into the residence, there were numerous loyal guards who were willing to risk their lives to protect the 4 children. Even without them, Ye Qinghuan was skilled in martial arts, and Wang Ji was meticulous and careful. They were more than enough to protect the children. Prince Jing tried his best to let Liu know that the children weren't in any danger, but the children outside kept wailing, sounding more devastated by the second. Liu's heart twisted into a knot. He was already a father. Dabao, Erbao, Sanbao, and Sibao were his own flesh, and normally just a single tear from one of his children was absolutely heart-wrenching. Even if the children outside weren't his own, he thought of his children when he heard the cries. Liu held Prince Jing's hand and begged softly, "Your Highness." Prince Jing knew what he wanted. It wasn't unusual for Zhao Yu to lose his composure out of concern for his children, so the easiest way for him to calm down would be to send someone outside to see what was going on and tell them what happened. Prince Jing had already sent people out to inquire, but they still hadn't come back for some reason. It would be quickest for him to go himself. There wasn't anything wrong with that. Prince Jing was confident in his own skills, even if he encountered bandits, but he was worried that Xiao Yu's tribulation would be affected. There was still one day to go. He'd heard that the biggest obstacles usually came during the final day. "Your Highness, I promise I'll stay right here and wait for you to come back," Liu pleaded. "Take a look for me, please." If it weren't for the fact that he was half human and half fish, he probably would have gone already himself. Yo, my throat is itchy. Yo, I have an itchy throat. I'm trying to access it through my ear. I don't know why. I don't like it. Okay, it's okay though. We'll continue. Prince Jing couldn't resist himself. Nope. Prince Jing couldn't resist him and didn't want him to be disappointed. Surely it should be safe as long as the fish stayed in the residence. On the other hand, he was afraid that Liu wouldn't be able to concentrate and overcome his tribulation if he was afraid and on edge. "I'll be back soon," Prince Jing agreed, after touching the charm on Liu's neck and giving him a token that represented the prince's authority, just in case. He strode out. The guards immediately greeted him, and Prince Jing signaled for them to protect the consort, but not to enter or disturb him. Liu watched him leave. After Prince Jing left, it calmed down a bit outside. Liu thought that Prince Jing would be back soon, but he waited a long time, and not only did Prince Jing not return, but the sound of children crying started up again. What was going on? Had something happened that even Prince Jing couldn't handle? Liu was extremely anxious. Having absolutely no clue what was happening outside only made him more worried. He was also worried for Prince Jing. He should have insisted on going outside with him, but he was still in merman form. Even if he didn't mind it, he couldn't walk outside. Just as the thought crossed his mind, Liu realized that his tail was gone, and had been replaced by human legs and feet. It's fully cooked! He's all done! Ding! Somehow, the 3rd day had arrived, and he transformed from a merman back into a manmer. Turning into a manmer right now wasn't the worst thing. Back into a manmer? Oh my god, he's a manmer again. Oh boy. Turning into a manmer right now wasn't the worst thing that could have happened. He didn't look as nice as he did as a merman, but his legs and feet could move around as he pleased. But the manmer couldn't breathe air, so he couldn't leave the water for too long. And he must scare others with his appearance if he went out like this. There was a lot of factors to consider. But Prince Jing hadn't returned, so he had no choice but to look for information on his own. He had promised Prince Jing that he wouldn't leave the secret residence, but the situation outside and his husband's safety was more important to him. He wanted to find Prince Jing as soon as possible. Boy, you need to breathe first. You need to find a way to let yourself breathe. The fuck? Liu's gaze fell on the cloth that he'd thrown to the side. It was rather large. It was a rather large piece. It was a rather. Whoa! Wow! I'm trying. I'm really trying. It was a rather large piece of cloth, big enough to cover his upper body and fins. Plus, if he needed water, whoa, brain. Am I having a stroke? What's going on? If he needed water, he still had his inventory and could bring some with him. Oh yeah, he does. I forgot about that. Liu rummaged through the room and found a fish tank, put it in his inventory, and filled both the fish tank and his inventory with clear water. In case of emergency, he could take it out and put his head in the fish tank. Liu finished preparing everything and got ready to leave. The guards outside stopped him, but Liu immediately showed them Prince Jing's token. Prince Jing had given it to him so he could protect himself. Since he had the token, the guards had no choice but to let him go. Prince Jing had only thought to ask them to protect the consort. He didn't think that the consort would ask to leave himself. The guards obeyed the order and followed Liu closely. Liu didn't scold them. He was the one who insisted on leaving and broke his promise, but he should be safe with the guards watching over him. He saw a good number of people on his outing. Liu followed the sound of crying. He didn't need to go far before he ran into some people dressed as bandits with their heads covered. They were holding something and trying to leave in a panic. Liu's sharp eyes recognized that they were holding a swaddled baby wrapped in a cloth with a golden hem. Liu's heart skipped a beat, and he ordered the guards to chase after them. There weren't many bandits, and the guards were extremely skilled, so it didn't take long for them to capture the bandits. Liu felt like he was going to stop breathing. But he still took the swaddled baby from the bandit and looked at it. This child wasn't Dabao. Liu was surprised and gave the child to the guard to look after. He ran into the corner just out of view, brought out the water in his inventory, and took some time to recover. Just as he put away the fish tank and was about to return around, a smoke bomb landed at his feet, spewing white smoke. Oh no, I was tricked, Liu realized as he fainted. When he woke up again, he was floating in some water with the cloth still wrapped around his head. But before he left, Liu was afraid that the cloth would fall off and he would scare others with his fish face. So he'd purposely tied a strip of sturdy leather several times around his body and found some cloth strips to hide his fins. The large cloth and cloth strips were still there. Liu remembered that he'd fainted from the white smoke. It was dangerous for him to lose consciousness as a Manmer. Why had he woken up in the water? Had Prince Jing come back to save him? There were voices by his ear. Liu quickly realized that it wasn't Prince Jing, but several other people. From their clothing, they appeared to be a group of bandits. You dumbass! You dumbass! You dumbass! Why didn't you trust Prince Jing? Why didn't you trust your own fucking husband? Why didn't you trust your husband? Oh my god. Sorry, my throat is so itchy that, it's like all I can think about. I think it might be this tea. It says it's caffeine free, which it is, I believe so, but I think it's rather grainy. Like, why is it like that? Why is it like that? Somebody tell me why it's like that. I don't like it. I don't even like the flavor. This is a bad tea. The group was noisy. Liu listened for a while before he figured out what was happening. The bandits had just broken into Lofeng village when they'd been beaten up badly by Prince Jing's ambush. They were going to retreat to their base, but the bandit leader decided to listen to his tactician,
who wanted to grab some important hostages from Lofeng village to knock down Prince Jing's confidence. The tactician had come to the western border recently and just joined this group of bandits. Somehow he had managed to get Somehow he had managed to get the head of the bandits to obey him. At a crucial moment on his instruction, the bandit leader didn't just try to escape, but came back to kidnap people instead. The tactician found babies at the mouth, about a month old, and placed them in golden-hemmed swaddling clothes. Then, he had the bandits make the babies cry and made them run around the village to lure people out with their wailing. The bandits didn't really understand why. Why couldn't they just use the children as hostages? Why did they need to lure other people out? The tactician wouldn't explain, just insisted they should do as they were told. The first time they ran into Prince Jing, he beat up the bandits. He beat the bandits up, and only a couple of them were left. In the end, the bandit leader decided to sacrifice himself and lure Prince Jing away, while the tactician had the rest of the bandits keep trying to lure other people out. Bro, tactician? More like Sixth Prince, am I right? Am I right? I know it is. I know it's this bitch. I know this bitch is behind it all. But the remaining bandits were confused. When another person came out, they ended up being beaten to a pulp again. The exhausted bandits took the unconscious Liu to a run-down temple. Near the temple, there was a shallow river. Liu's leather strip was thick and hard to break, so the bandits hadn't been able to take off the cloth. Since they couldn't see him or identify him, they could only toss him into the river and hope that he would wake up soon so they could interrogate him. Liu had worked it out now and thought to himself that Prince Jing was right. This was a trap all along, and he'd fallen right into it. The bandits' strategies held ill intentions, and they used swaddled babies, a very particular choice. They must have been targeting him and his children, so he and Prince Jing had to be careful. They were separated. Though that initially seemed pretty bad, the guards responsible for guarding him should have realized that he was kidnapped by now. The bandits were dressed conspicuously, and Prince Jing would definitely find him soon. He'd messed up again. He hadn't trusted Prince Jing and had made his own rash decisions, but he had heard a baby's cry. If he were to do it all over again, he would probably make the same choices. Liu couldn't imagine himself being so reckless in the past, but there was nothing he could do about it. He was worried about his children, and he couldn't stand by a father's instinct. The end of that chapter, and I actually read that wrong. He couldn't just stand by a father's instinct. My bad. The end of the chapter, but that is where we are ending off today as well, because my throat really hurts. It doesn't hurt, it's just itchy, and it's like making it really difficult to read. Okay. But yeah, that's that. Oh my god, the next chapter. The next chapter is called Fishy Punishment. So, get ready for that. Oh, I love an interrogation scene. Oh, I do love it. That's chapter 99 as well. We're almost on chapter 100. We've read almost 100 chapters of this book. Okay. But yeah, that is all for today. Oh my god, my fucking back. Okay. That's all for today. I will let you go. Let myself go. Go take a nap or something. I don't know, I need to lie down. I need to take a cough drop. Let me do that right now, actually. Let me do that right now. It's one of these, Ricola Original. They're kind of nasty. I wish they were lemon flavored, but they're like herbs and shit.
Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me with this book. And Raphael, thanks for being here. Special guest Raphael. What if I just... Sorry, I thought, what if I like screen shared my phone and put them up in the background or something so they're hanging out with us? I won't, because those stupid screen share programs are like subscription based or something. It's really annoying. Oh, that was loud. That was loud. Why are there so many fucking tissues? So much trash on my desk. Okay. But I'll see you all later. I'll get my schedule up at like Sunday or something. I'll get my schedule. I don't know what I'm doing next week, but we're definitely have another fishy reading next week. What is next week? Next week is February. Oh my god, next week is February. I don't have any plans for Valentine's Day. I don't have any Valentine's plan. I am saving up. I'm talking about Love and Deep Space again. You're just gonna have to hear about this all the time. I am saving up my diamonds for Love and Deep Space Valentine event because that's necessary. And I knew they were gonna do this. They're gonna spawn Caleb, make us wail on him, and then get out like a 4-member banner thing. Is it called a banner or something else? I don't know. I only know gacha in terms of Genshin. That was my first gacha. Or was it? I don't know. But yeah, I'll see you later. Have a good time zone. Good rest of your day. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. I guess I won't see you until next week in the weekday. I'll see you on Monday probably. Yeah, be safe and mask up. Please, for the love of God, wear a mask. Okay, I'll see you later. Goodbye.